This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Right, there I am. Hi. It is the After Party live on a Travel Tuesday. Thank you for being here. And sorry for the delay. Mark is back and the post-show meeting was good. So here we go. Thank you to Wes right off the bat for contributing $5 to the After Party live. It is the only way the show survives. Huge thank you to Wes, to everyone else who contributes. Payment also came in from James S. as well overnight. So big thank you. The PayPal information is in the About tab on YouTube for the After Party Live, and it's also in everyday's show description. So enough of that. Okay. Let's get on to the greetings. Hello, party people, says Sandy. Nice. Heather with the hi, friends. What's happening from Nullifidian? And Wes, finally out of a meeting and ready to start the party with me. Thank you very much. There were a lot of options as far as Travel Tuesday today. And I was thinking we've kind of kept it a little local as far as, places we could drive to in a day or two for recently. But God, where did we go last week? I forget already. But this week I thought, where will we probably never go that would be interesting to take a look at some pictures from? So we're going to really branch out today. We're probably never going to these places. I don't know, maybe you've already been there, but we'll check out some exotic locales on today's Travel Tuesday. But first, let's jump into some of the stories that I have rounded up for you today. And the first one has to do with, let's scroll back up, a black hole jet. Have you heard of that? I hadn't either. There's a black hole jet. Yeah. It is something that scientists have managed to find with a telescope. They call it the largest black hole jet from the early universe. Last week, researchers said they discovered twin-lobed radio jets they think were formed when the universe was 1.2 billion years old, stretching at least twice the length of the Milky Way galaxy. So it looks like maybe a gummy lifesaver in space, but really, it's huge. They think this black hole fueling this quasar producing the jet is small compared to other black holes, equaling 450 million suns. That's my new way for how much I hate He Who Shall Not Be Named. I hate you with the heat of 450 million suns. The scientists used the Gemini North Telescope in Hawaii to find this one. The researchers say this has helped them get some new insight into when the first jets formed in the universe and how they impacted the evolution of galaxies. One of the researchers says it's interesting that the quasar powering this massive radio jet doesn't have an extreme black hole mass compared to other quasars. It seems to indicate that you don't necessarily need an exceptionally massive black hole or an accretion rate to generate such a powerful jet in the early universe. The ones they've discovered before, the radio jets in the early universe, had been attributed to noise from cosmic microwave background left over from the Big Bang. That background radiation, they say, lessened with the greater distance. But it's only because this object is so extreme, they say, that we can observe it from Earth, even though it's really far away. This object shows we can discover by combining the power of multiple telescopes that operate at different wavelengths. So now we know about this one. Yeah, it's the gummy radio jet in the sky. So interesting. I have a Lotto of the Day story. I was remiss in not doing one yesterday, so today I have two. This guy thought his ticket was a dud. Nope. Happened in Michigan. He said his decision to scan what he thought was a non-winning ticket saved a $4 million ticket from ending up in the old garbage can. This man is 43 years old. He's from Macomb County in Michigan. Said he bought his magnificent millions ticket at the 9 Mile Stop and Go in Warren, but it didn't initially, to him, appear to be a winner. He said, "When I play these instant games, I skip around when I scratch the ticket off. I thought," he said, "that I had scratched everything off and I didn't see any winning matches, so I just tossed that ticket aside." Then he said he decided to double check that ticket instead of throwing it out. And that is the decision that paid off. Can you imagine throwing away 4 million? The next time he said, "I stopped at a gas station, I took the ticket inside, I scanned it just to make sure I hadn't missed anything. And when I scanned it," he said, "I got the message to file a claim and I knew I had missed something on that ticket. When I looked it over again, I saw a spot that I forgot to scratch. And when I did, I revealed it was a $4 million winner." And he said, "I went numb." He plans on saving his winnings for the time being and not blowing it all. We'll see what he does. This next one is also out of Michigan. This guy, name is James. He's 69 from Redford, Michigan. He said he just had some spare change after buying some groceries. So he decided that he was going to spend it on a lottery ticket. And what did he win? $25,000 a year for life. Must be nice. Yeah, just went to the grocery store, stopped at Jerry's Party Store. That's where you got to buy your lottery ticket, at the party store. He said, "I had some change left over after buying some groceries at the party store. So I decided to buy some Lucky for Life tickets." He said, "I checked my numbers that night and my eyes about popped out of my head when I got to the third line and they said I had matched 5 numbers." He said his disbelief was so strong that he needed his family to come double check the ticket. It's so funny because no one believes that they actually won. Everyone always has to have someone else look it over. "I asked my wife and son to look at my ticket to be sure I was seeing it right. This is the largest prize I've ever won. Just unbelievable," he said. His plans for the winning involve investing that $25,000 a year for the rest of his life. We had a problem in California. It's a big load of chopsticks that fell on the freeway. Yeah, unfortunately, this happened in Hayward. The CHP said it was like a giant game of pickup sticks. This truck spilled its load of chopsticks onto 580 near the Redwood Road exit, and the CHP called it a sticky situation. Get it? Chopstick sticky situation. Turns out, according to the CHP, someone tried to turn the freeway into a giant game of pickup sticks. Unfortunately, this means a local restaurant might be short on utensils tonight. The CHP said this chopstick spill should serve as a reminder to all people traveling the highways to make sure their loads are properly secured. Don't want to lose the chopsticks. Nope. Mm-mm. There's a story about AI art. And I thought it was really interesting. There are thousands of artists right now that are calling this a mass theft. And they want this AI auction to be totally canceled. They've written a letter to Christie's auction house questioning why Christie's would condone such a sale. They say AI is impoverishing artists that are desperately trying to make a living. They don't know why Christie's, which makes a living auctioning off art and fine items, right, would want to damage artists. There are more than 3,000 artists now that have called for Christie's to cancel its first ever AI art auction. They say it's a mass theft of human artists' work. The pieces here range from prices, beginning auction prices of $10,000 to $250,000. They say many of the artworks that you plan to auction, this according to the letter, were created using AI models known to be trained on copyrighted work without a license. The models and the companies behind them exploit human artists using their work without permission or payment to build commercial AI products that compete with the artists. So this, what you're seeing here, is an image made with the help of AI. It is Holly Herndon and Matt Dryhurst, apparently, the ones that get the credit for this one. And here's another picture of work created with AI. This one is painted by a British artist, I guess, AI generated artwork. The petition directed toward Christie's says your support of these models and the people who use them rewards and further incentivizes AI companies' mass theft of human artists' work. They ask that if Christie's has any respect for human artists, you cancel this auction. Christie says the works in the auction used AI to enhance the art. The folks that are critical of the auction say it looks like around 9 of the works in the auction were made using AI models that companies built, using other artists' work without permission. The folks that are criticizing say they don't blame artists for using AI products available on the market, but they question why Christie's would implicitly condone these models by selling these works for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars when the exploitative technology behind them is impoverishing so many artists desperately trying to make a living. So, this AI dedicated event, unless Christie's cancels it, will go from February 20th to March 5th. Oh, we'll see if they pull it off. They say the folks that have made the art, it's not illegal to use any model to create artwork. Some of the artists who use the AI tools say they resent that an important debate that should be focused on companies and state policy is instead being focused on artists grappling with the technology of our time. Where do you come down on this? Should Christie's go forward with this auction? Or is it theft? As the artists say, massive theft, because all AI is based on previous art, right? Models of art that other artists created. It says a sticky one. I don't know. How do you feel? What do you think? I'm going to the chat. SF Tesla says, will it help AI if we throw away some more statues in the park? I don't know. Mindy says it's theft. AI should create its own art. AI can't create anything without input from humans. Like, you can't have AI learns from what we input into it, right? The art that we give it to see, they take that and they store it and they base whatever they're spitting back at us from that. So you can't just have it create its own art because it's always going to be based on something humans created. That's the way I understand it. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Ms. Organics, it's kind of like 3D printed Roman sculptures, artists assisted by technology. Yes, I would agree. Wes writes, it's not theft because all art is based on previous art and the artist that the artist has seen in his or her life. An excellent point. It's true. Whatever we create, whatever we say, whatever creative stuff comes out of us is always going to be based on our experience, our lived experience, what we've observed in our life. It's all part of what makes us so interesting and able to express ourselves in a way. So I agree with you on that, Wes. I think you make an excellent point. Tammy says, I don't like it. It's theft. Mindy says, then the input people need to create their own art. Yeah. Mo says the existential proclivity to the creation is from the seed of total abandonment. Wow, you're getting really deep on me today. I don't even know if I know what that means. To read that one again, over and over again until I get it. Nullifidian says, my favorite artist is MC Escher. Okay. Karen writing, aloha. All art, music, etc. is based on previous works, but AI diminishes culture, says Karen, because it is replacing it with machines. Rhonda says, bad enough I can't make a living any longer as a writer due to AI. Mindy says, yeah, every individual creates unique art. Blue Spark writing, art for art's sake, money for God's sake. Karen, AI has been found recently to be able to replicate itself, said to be a dangerous step. Yeah, I saw that. But Wes says, no, you should all try it if you get a chance. Describe a scene or a painting and see what comes out. that is actually the best way to understand what AI does. It's true. SF Tesla says, I say push is turning to shove when AI starts putting its signature on its own works, right? It's an interesting argument, I think. I love you guys so much. You all have such interesting things to say. Very cool. So from that to this poor sad sack, this guy, he lost his Bitcoin. I know. How do you do this? He lost 600 million pounds in his Bitcoin fortune. Thinks it's in a landfill. Had a legal case to force the city council to let him search the site, but a judge said, no, you can't go searching through the landfill looking for your Bitcoin. His name is James Howells. So now, apparently, Mr. Howells is Mr. Moneybags. He's thinking of trying to purchase the dump, the landfill. Instead, he's talking about it with his business partners now because he is desperate to search every parcel of garbage in this landfill to find his missing Bitcoin. James Howells is from Newport in South Wales. He said it was his ex-girlfriend that mistakenly threw out a hard drive containing thousands of Bitcoins. This happened in 2013. Here we are in 2025, and he's still pissed off that he lost his gazillions of Bitcoins. He's 39 years old, an IT worker. He said this Bitcoin on the hard drive that his ex-girlfriend chucked in 2013 is worth more than 600 million pounds, and he's been trying to recover it ever since. So he's considering buying the landfill so that he can hunt for the missing fortune himself. Newport City, where he lives, is planning to close and cap the site this year in the 2025-26 fiscal year. They're going to close it and put a big cap on the dump. This dump it's over. And underneath the cap will be his $6 million pounds of Bitcoin. Every time he drives past that landfill, I bet he's so mad. He said it would almost certainly spell the end of any lingering hopes he has of recovering his Bitcoin. He said it was quite a surprise to hear about the council's closure plan for the dump. So last month, there was a judge that dismissed a case that he brought to force the city to allow him to search the landfill site or award him 490 million pounds in compensation. Either let me look for my missing Bitcoin or you pay me nearly what it's worth. The council said, no, we're not doing it. The council, he says, claimed in court that closing the landfill to allow him to search would have a huge detrimental impact on the people of Newport, while at the same time, they're planning to close the landfill anyway. He said, I expected it would be closed in the coming years because it's 80 to 90% full, but I didn't expect the closure would come so soon. He said, if the Newport City Council would be willing, I would potentially be interested in purchasing the landfill site as is and have discussed this option with investment partners, and it is something that is very much on the table. The judge says you have no realistic prospect of succeeding if this case is allowed to go to trial with the whole searching of the landfill, or we pay you money. So no. So will the city sell him the landfill? I don't know. We'll see if he ever gets his hands on the Bitcoin. It's a story we're following on the After Party Live. This poor guy. I don't know why it makes me fun, but it makes me laugh. Phineas says he's screwed if the hard drive won't spin if he finds it. Uh-oh. Karen says sometimes life is just not fair and you have to accept it. Seriously, though? I mean, how much is 600 million pounds? Hold on. Pounds to dollars. I should have searched for that earlier. Sorry. Okay, so that's 746, almost $747 million. Is that, Karen? Is that just not fair and you have to accept it? 747 million. I don't know. Phineas says no SSD drive in 2015. Oh, you're trying to think about what tech he had back then? This is why partners should not touch the other stuff. Heather says a more secure way to store crypto is in a cold wallet, essentially a hard drive and a not network centric. I assume that's what happened here. Heather's probably right. Blue Spark's thinking this over. This guy's in IT and he throws away a drive and it's not even backed up. I don't know how that all works. Perhaps he thought having it on this drive, as Heather suggests, was enough. It's all fun and games until your ex-girlfriend throws it away. Phineas says that's why you back up your backup, your backup. Talk about a needle in a haystack, says Karen. Backup people. Heather says, don't they have a data recovery methods for that though? No. I don't. Well, I mean, maybe you mean you're talking about a broken hard drive, perhaps. But I understand that if you get rid of, like, if you don't have your Bitcoin codes or whatever it is, like, you're SOL. That's it. Yeah. Mindy says, keep your paws off the stuff. Wes says, just pick better girlfriends and keep track of your valuables. Lesson learned. If something was worth, even back in 2015, if say it was only worth 100 million, don't you think that's worthy of a safe deposit box? I mean, where no one can get at it, nothing can damage it, nothing can be spilled on it, right? Pets can't bite it, kids can't wreck it, ex-girlfriends can't accidentally move it. Safe deposit box. If it's that valuable to you, come on. Cece says, I've never been interested in Bitcoin because I work in compliance and have a rule. Never invest in unregulated platforms and industries. Too much fraud and money laundering. Now apparently we're back in Bitcoin again with the, don't we have the Doge memes and the Doge coins and the, oh my gosh, sorry, no politics on this one. Yeah. Heather says, yeah, you need your seed phrase, and he might have his, but that does no good when your crypto is stored in a cold wallet that you can't find. Yikes. Yeah, Mindy says, just lock up the important stuff up, pause off. This poor, I mean, part of me feels bad for him, and part of me is like, dude, so many mistakes were made. Now you got to buy the whole landfill. And maybe it's worth it. All right, here's our thumbnail story of the day. Look at this Stradivarius. Yeah. It is a Stradivarius that was made in the year 1714. It's a storied Stradivarius violin. The instrument was once owned by a notable 19th century Hungarian violinist. Of course, made by Antonio Stradivari. This is a violin that was just sold by Boston's New England Conservatory at a Sotheby's auction. $11.25 million for this violin. They're going to take the money and they're going to use it to create a new scholarship opportunity for the students of Boston's New England Conservatory. They say after years of individual use by our students, now we can establish the largest named student scholarship program in the history of the New England Conservatory, honoring our mission to educate and train the next generation of musicians. They say while it's been a privilege to have one of the world's finest violins, this sale will be transformational for our students. I don't know. I mean, yes, I do know. Obviously, they made the right choice, but also, and how cool for a student to be able to play, a student at a national conservatory like that, to be able to play a Stradivarius once in their lives. This instrument has a name. It's called the Joachim Ma Stradivarius, named for two of its most famous owners, violinists Joseph Joachim of Hungary and Sihon Ma of China. When Ma died in 2009, his estate gifted this violin to the New England Conservatory. It is made of maple and spruce wood, got a rich red varnish. During his golden period, Stradivari made was in the golden period, the quality peak of his crafting career. He made other instruments as well, violas, cellos, but the violins were what made him famous. Stradivarius violins, they say, have no modern equivalents. Continuously coveted and played for more than 3 centuries, the Sotheby's entry writes they are without parallels in any other field of human endeavor. So I have another picture of this. You can see the wood up close. It's a beautiful violin. The first one that it's named after, Joaquin, he bought this violin in the mid-19th century when he was 18 years old. They say he almost certainly played it at the 1879 premiere of the Johann Brahms Violin Concerto in D major, conducted by Brahms himself. That's pretty cool. They say for a musician to play the instrument he once played is a magical experience and something you really can't put a price on. The other owner, Ma, was not only a violinist and a teacher, but the inventor of the Sihon mute, an improved device for dampening a violin sound, which doesn't have to be removed when it's not in use. He came to the United States as an immigrant, worked as a musician in New York for decades, performing on the Stradivarius, which he purchased from the proceeds from that invention. Pretty cool. They thought the Joachim Ma would bring in between 12 and 18 million. And if that had happened, it would have made it the most expensive musical instrument ever auctioned. But the winning bid, 10 million, 11.25 with fees, fell short of that record, which still belongs to the Lady Blunt Stradivarius, which sold for 15.9 million in 2011. There have been 4 students at the New England Conservatory that used the Joachim Ma Stradivarius in the last decade. Each of them used it for a year or 2, and they say now we have a chance for it to benefit so many more students, even generations of students to come. So for them, it was about the most powerful use of this incredible instrument. Well, there it is, Stradivarius. Somebody's the new owner. Speaking of music, check this thing out. This is kind of a robot hand. It is a exoskeleton that helps you play the piano faster. It's a finger wagging exoskeleton. Japanese researchers using this robotic hand exoskeleton to train expert pianists to improve their performance using this technique that they think could be applied to esports, to surgery, even handicrafts as well. It's a robotic exoskeleton. They are working with the researcher Shini Furuya and his team at the Sony Computer Science Labs in Tokyo. They say they're focusing on using technology to enhance music practice. So the exoskeleton can independently move the wearer's fingers using a motor at the base of each of your fingers. Got a little motor there, and it moves your fingers. Guess it exercises your fingers? The researchers found after just one 30-minute session with this device, where the exoskeleton triggered a fast, complex movement pattern, participants in the study were able to play faster all by themselves. The effect, they say, was visible in both the participants' hands, from left and right, even though they only had worn the exoskeleton on the right. And it persisted both immediately after the training and the next day, too. They were motivated to create this device to enable musicians to push past the plateau they usually hit after extensive training, which is also known as the ceiling effect. You don't want the ceiling effect. The person is at risk of injury from overtraining, they say, something the hand exoskeleton avoids because the person wearing it is not using their muscles to move. They say technology can be a support for musicians to embed musical creativity through enhancing sensory motor skills. The vision being that in the future society, musicians can create the musical expression in their minds without suffering from physical constraints or limitations. So what, you just think it and play it? Hmm. The discovery suggests that there is some type of way to extend people's skills beyond their previous limits, and that the approach could be used for training in other arts and other activities as well. So, things that require these dexterous finger movements, esports, a surgeon, right? Some craftsmanship type of careers. They say that people that tested this exoskeleton, 118 expert pianists, they had all majored in piano performance at a musical conservatory, and they'd all been playing since before the age of 8. The study that they did on this exoskeleton has been published in the journal Science Robotics, and they say training with fast, complex movements improved the pianist's performance, but training with slow or simple movements had no effect. And they did some brain scans too that confirmed the changes registered in the participants' motor cortex as well. It's called this hand exoskeleton. The whole approach is called musical dynaformics, using science of musical performance to create new forms of technology enabled learning. I don't know. I think it works. Whatever works for you. I have some other pictures of that. Here's the first picture. You can kind of see it on there. Wear it for 30 minutes. Keeps on working for you. I guess maybe making your fingers move faster, zapping your muscles. Well, there you go. Okay, let's go to Travel Tuesday because we have some places to go and some things to see, people. Pack it up, clip in your seatbelt, and we're ready to go. Please keep your arms and hands inside the vehicle at all times. Our first stop is South Korea. Look at that rock formation. These are places that you might not ever think of going, but you're really missing out. So the first one is South Korea. National parks, mountains, islands, ski resorts. This is the country that hosted the 2018 Winter Olympics. You can go to a Korean barbecue in Seoul or go to the coast in Busan. This is Seoraksan National Park, where you see South Korea's third highest mountain. It features hot springs and temples and jagged rock formations as well. How about we go to, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm sorry if you know how to say it and I don't. Jeju Island, Jeju Island, Jeju, Jeju, unless J's are pronounced differently. Jeju Island. It is a place where locals often vacation, beautiful beaches, outdoor spas. They have lava tube tours here. So you can go check out some caves. You know how we like that on the after party. It's really, really beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful coast with the mountains in the background. The rocks, so pretty. We're off to Chandeokgung Palace. I'll go here with you guys. Look at that. Yeah. This is a 15th century royal villa in Seoul. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. When it was built, the builders expertly designed the complex to accommodate uneven terrain at the foot of a mountain peak. So pretty. Look how it lights up at night. Let's go stay in a 15th century palace. I don't think they're going to let us stay there. Well, from the palace to the snow, go skiing in South Korea at the Deogyusan Resort. You can go skiing in the daytime, and then in the evening, yeah, hot springs await after a day on the slopes. They have these cable cars you can see here that haul people up the mountain to come down. So that's pretty nice. And thus ends our trip to South Korea, but we're not through yet. Oh no, we're going to Kazakhstan. Look at that. That's pretty nice. It is the world's 9th largest country. They say if you like architecture, touring cities, maybe checking out some wilderness, you will love this very little explored corner of the earth. You can start in Almaty, which is the biggest city. They have clothing markets and upscale restaurants. And then you can go check out the Tian Shan Mountains and hike sacred forests where many modern fruit crops were first cultivated. You say Kazakhstan or Kazakhstan? I think it's Kazakhstan. Um, but yeah, look at those buildings. Beautiful. Astana has been called the world's weirdest capital city. If you look back 20 years ago, it hardly existed. CNN says this area was an empty patch of land. It was best known as a former Gulag prison camp for the wives of Soviet traitors before it was declared the new capital in 1997, and they started building. And now they have this futuristic looking skyline in this area. They also have this beautiful cathedral. Check this out. This is Almaty's wooden Ascension Cathedral. It was built without nails, no nails at all, between 1904 and 1907. It is one of the only buildings in Almaty to survive a 1911 earthquake. They use it for state and public purposes. They did after the Russian Revolution. And then it was returned to the Russian Orthodox Church in the 1990s. So back to being a church. Sure is a pretty building. No nails at all. Can you believe that? Let's go to Big Almaty Lake. This sits in the Tian Shan Mountains. Here's a picture of it. That's pretty nice. See, places we would never go. The western Tian Shan Range stretches into China. It's listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its biodiversity. This is Big Almaty Lake in the Tian Shan Mountains. Sure is pretty. Look at that. And maybe you've missed the ocean. Well, it's all right. We'll go back to it there. The city of Aktau, Aktau, is a hub for the oil industry. It sits on the Caspian Sea, but people love coming here because it's a great place to swim. So this is, again, the coast of Aktau on the Caspian Sea. Looks like a beautiful place to go. And there we have it. That, my friends, is Travel Tuesday for this week. South Korea and Kazakhstan. 2 places I'll probably never go in my life. And there we go. There's some pretty cool places in the world. Thank you for traveling with me. I appreciate it. And go into the chat to see what you guys have to say. David says the Caspian Sea is a lake. Thank you very much. Gulag prison camps. No. Gordon says it's over too soon. Oh, no. David also says the biggest lake in the world, a saltwater lake. Okay. Somebody always has to know the real answers. Okay. More stans. You want the stans. Yeah. I like the flowers. Very gold. Yeah, those were some pretty gold buildings, huh? Anything has that kind of risk these days, says Heather. I don't know what you're talking about. This is what happens when I join the mid-conversation. All right. So that is Travel Tuesday. Thank you for traveling with me. Tomorrow is Waterfall Wednesday, and we'll be back at it. Tomorrow, also, I should note on the Mark Thompson Show, David K. Johnston will be along. He had to switch from Tuesday to Wednesday this week. So we'll see David K. Johnston tomorrow, along with John Rothman and Belinda Weymouth. And tomorrow we'll check out some waterfalls on the After Party Live. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Make it a really good one. And I'll meet you right back here on YouTube tomorrow. For now, bye-bye. Thank you, Wes.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
makes me feel fun. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with the feeling that I'm gonna love you till the end of time. Oh, here's to the golden moon, and here's to the silver sea, but mostly here's a toast to you and me. Tiny bubbles in the water makes me happy. Ooh, makes me feel fine. Tiny bubbles makes me warm all over, with the feeling that I'm gonna love till the end of time.